changes spanning generations, or a shift in the wind, a body dormant underground. His world is right.
Welcome to Onward Live, a live stream focused on encouraging you to create a life you love living now. Let's go beyond success to significance. Being clear on our why is crucial. It requires doing the inner work, finding ourselves, getting to know ourselves, embracing our inner child, shedding social conditioning, and letting go of perfect. We know obstacles make us stronger. We can dream big and take action. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. I invite you to tune in every week and engage with me and my inspiring guests. Invite your friends. Let's make time for what matters most in our lives. Let's move onward together.
Hi, Emily. Um, I think there is a problem with the sound because I cannot hear you, and the people are not seem not to hear you as well. Can you hear me? Good. But I cannot hear you. No audio, no sound. Yeah, good. So
That better?
yeah, there you go.
Okay. I don't know what happened. All right, let me just say it over again. Okay. Well, I got Alex here. Let me just say
Yeah.
it over again. I think we got the sound figured out. I don't know what happened. I might have hit a button, like a mute button or something on my microphone. I don't know when I was moving it forward. But anyway, okay. I'm glad that you guys can hear me. All right, so let me just say really quickly, I'm Emily Harmon. I'm interviewing Alex, and we are talking about being on the war on the ground in Ukraine. And you might think, well, what does that have to do with creating a life you love living now? I mean, my podcast is it is all about that. And I wanted to say, I said earlier, you guys didn't hear me because of my microphone, that I worked for the Department of the Navy for 34 years, and I retired in May of 2019, and I was an officer and a civilian. And when I retired, I wanted to figure out, what do I want to do? And one of the things I did is I started a podcast, which was the Onward podcast, all about facing adversity and moving forward, because I pushed forward all my life, push, push, push. And then it was facing adversity, moving forward, and discovering ourselves along the way, because really we learn about ourselves. I'm sure Alex has learned a ton about himself as in the situation that he's facing right now, and all of his friends and countrymen and women. And then I changed it to create a life you love living now. And why would I be talking about creating a life you love living now with Alex, who's in a war zone? And my point is, creating a life you love living is different for everybody. And it doesn't mean like make a bunch of money and go on vacation and just do whatever you want. To me, it's like understanding myself and being in the moment. And my brother sent me a video of you, Alex, being interviewed by Anderson Cooper on CNN. And I'm like, I got to interview this guy. I want to help spread the word. I want to help you raise funds for what you're doing. I want people to be able to ask you questions and be able to, get the word out about what's going on. And I also want people to understand, how the heck are you living a life you're living while you're there? And what made me think of that is watching you and your wife on your Twitter video singing happy birthday on March 10th to your 1-month-old son. And you were smiling and you were full of joy. So welcome, Alex.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I'm touched, Emily, by your introduction. Well, I don't know what to say. If you lead it and direct it and ask a question, I'd probably start thinking.
Yep. Okay, so people can hear us now. If you have any questions for me or Alex, please post them. So Alex, I would just love it if you could just tell us where you are and what it's like to be where you are right now.
Well, I'm in the heart of Ukraine, basically in the middle of Ukraine. It's safe. It's safe, more or less. It's safe here. It's 120 miles south of Kyiv, around 2 hours drive to Kyiv. But we evacuated from Irpin. I don't know, guys, how much you follow what is happening, but Irpin is now hell. That's a front line there. That's where I actually where I was on the first day of war. And we evacuated. We are safe here. Again, more or less, nothing is safe here in the entire country. But we don't have our home. We don't have the new house that we were building. We were actually building a new house close to the military base where the Russians were supposed to land in the first place. It's 15 kilometers northwest of Kyiv. And my new house was in the construction like 1 mile away from that airport, which is completely destroyed now. So I don't know what happened to my house now. I don't have my apartment. I don't have my house. I don't have most of my belongings, but I have myself. I have my wife, my kid. Some of the belongings. I have both cats,
Both
and
cats?
now,
Is that what you
yeah,
said?
yeah, we have two cats, and well, at this point, I'm in the phase of like full acceptance of what happened, and just like Emily said, I'm trying to find some. I don't know if joy is the right word, but something like this. Joy in being right now and here, and understanding that we do not know what will happen tomorrow, because we don't know even what will happen tonight, because the bombing can happen any day, any moment. Air attack can happen any moment. We now live about 2 miles away from Cherkasy. Cherkasy is the city I'm in. You can find it on Google Maps. So the another airport is 2 miles away from me, and these guys actually, no, I wouldn't say the guys. Those are the beasts. These beasts actually bomb every airports in the country, just not to allow our airplanes to to fly. So also Cherkasy is the center of chemical industry, and with the view of the recent news of chemical attacks, this could be a risk. But again, we know the risk. We evaluated the risk. We leave now. We don't know what will happen tonight, tomorrow, and that's good.
Are you staying in a hotel or where are you staying?
That's our friend's apartment. They just gave it away to us, free, of course. And
That's
we came here without even a baby's carriage, because we just bought a new baby's carriage, but it was too big for the car, for the vehicle. So I left it there. So we came here without it, and our neighbors just gave us another one. I have a boy. They gave me a red carriage, but I don't care, whatever. I just need a baby carriage to go out and, walk in the streets. That's good. You can see I'm not really like, I don't care. This T-shirt, I don't care. I live. This is the best that can happen to me at the moment.
So Jennifer's asking, how old is your son and how is he?
Oh, this point is like 5 weeks old.
Mhm.
He was born 2 weeks before the war started. Um, so on the first day of war, he was exactly 2 weeks, and everyone who has or had babies like this know that the first months are very sleep. The nights, it's hard to sleep at night. So I woke up on the first day of war. I woke up at night because he cried, and I just wanted to check the news. It was 4 a.m. in the morning, and I was shocked. And we heard the airplanes flying over us, the jets, and the missiles and helicopters, and because this airport was something like 4 miles away from us, 4 miles away.
Wow. Do you hear any of that going on right now where you are?
Well, it's peaceful. It's only anti-air defense, whatever it's called, anti-air defense alarms that we are supposed to go to bomb shelters. But you know what? We don't even care. We don't go anywhere. You know, people who live in Cherkasy are more or less they haven't seen what we saw, because the places where we stayed for the first 2 weeks, it's like you would hear like pooh, pooh, pooh. And at some point, you get used to that. You don't care. It's okay. It's like a normal. It's a norm. It's a norm that it happens. And when I came to Irpin, again, the city I evacuated my family from, I went there to evacuate another family on the 6th day of war. It was Wednesday. And I came there, and it was like, boom. It was, you could, when I first heard, I was like, and then I looked at other people who already got used to that, and they said, "Okay, we hear it from the very morning. It's okay for us already. We got used to that." So
Wow.
people get used to such things
Does
because this
being
is
used to it mean that doesn't necessarily mean you're not scared?
actually I'm not scared. I'm not scared because well, I'm a smart guy. I knew the threat is coming. I saw the clouds, the black clouds coming our way with a thunderstorm, lightning, and everything. But probably I saw it more than anybody or most of Ukrainians. Well, and it was publicly. President Biden months ago publicly said that Kremlin's plan is to get Kyiv. Kremlin's plan is to sweep away the current authorities and place their own ones. British intelligence said they specifically named the people who Kremlin wants to put here. So it was like publicly known, but nobody believed it. It could. I didn't believe as well. I saw the clouds, but I was like, okay, the thunderstorm might not hit us. So I was mentally prepared. By the way, the night before the war started, we sat down with my wife at a dinner, and I said, okay, let's now it's peaceful, it's calm, but let's discuss when will be the point when we consciously decide that we got to leave this place. You guys just think about it. At a dinner, a regular dinner, you sit down with your family and you discuss such things. What would be the point? What should happen that you get your most necessary belongings and you leave the home thinking that you may probably but then there is a chance that you will never get back to this place. And that was good. It was not an emotional decision for us. On Thursday, when the war started, we were already mentally prepared. On Thursday night, we again discussed it. And on Friday, actually next day, we already left. And most of people didn't. On the sixth day, I evacuated one family from Irpin. I helped them out. On the seventh day of the war, I tried to evacuate another family, but I wasn't let in. The Ukrainian army stopped me and they said, no way, you will not go there.
You
So
you weren't let in where? Into the
to Irpin, to the city,
where they
to go
live.
and pick up another family to evacuate. And lots of people didn't do that, and they suffered, and there's still quite a lot of people who are suffering there because they didn't consciously decide on that.
So I loved your quote when you were talking with Anderson Cooper. You said, I cannot fight with a weapon. Unfortunately, I don't have this experience. I fight with whatever I can, with information. Tell us how you're fighting.
It took me several days to actually accept what was going on. Again, I was mentally prepared, but still it was a shock. First and second day, I cried. I wept like a baby. I wept like I have never wept in my entire life. After that, the, by day 3, I guess, I came to the emotion was like fury. It's not even anger. It was like fury to what is going on, to these beasts who did this to us. By day 4, it was Sunday, I was like, oh, I can't just sit home, read through the news, and and do nothing. I actually was an active participant, if you guys know about our both revolutions in 2004 and 2014. So I was like, I need to be there. I need to do something. Well, when I discussed it with my wife, she was like, no way, no way. She started crying. She's like, you have a little baby. You have me. You have to take care of us. You have to defend us. I said, okay, I'm not going to take a weapon. First, I don't have the military experience. Well, and second, well, yeah, this is a risk. I don't want to take this risk and go with a weapon because, again, I'm not good at it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I can do. So on Monday, and I discussed it with my wife, and she accepted it. And she said, okay, you can go. So I went actually to Kyiv um, to help people in bomb shelters. So we identified a problem that the underground stations that in the war were turned into bomb shelters, they were not prepared to that. They didn't have basic stuff. They didn't have um, teapots to boil water. They didn't have tea. They didn't have anything for the people to stay there. So me and my friend who actually experienced it, he had stayed in a bomb shelter overnight. He said, "Alex, it's like we have to do something." So we just got our own money. We went to a supermarket. We bought sugar, tea, some teapots. We brought to one metro station. So we gradually started doing that, and this is 2 weeks that we have been doing it. Now we have a team of like 10 people, and we cover 26 underground stations, and we really organized it well in a really structured way to help them prepare to whatever hard times can be. Yeah. So this is one thing that I started doing, and then I thought, well, I speak English. I've been working with foreigners for my entire professional life for 20 plus years. So why don't I just speak to the world and tell? Not because you guys know, you can Google, you can see news and all of this, but this is the feeling of what it is like to be in a war that I want to share with you. This is something that you got to know, and the world has to know, because you will tell others, and this is how we will also. The more we speak about this, the more we share this, the faster this hell will stop, will end.
Yeah. So on your Twitter, you show different videos. You just posted about day 18. You show different videos about the kinds of things that you and your friends are doing to help. And it's simple. It's seemingly simple things, like things you wouldn't think of. You showed. You talked about how the children in the bunkers are getting bit by mosquitoes, which is counterintuitive because it's freezing cold outside. So tell us about that.
Well, this is what we had. Well, when we started, I thought, okay, there must be lots of humanitarian help, humanitarian aid coming our way. And there is, of course, but it really takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I don't even know whether there's anything in Kyiv now, or there is, but judging from what the underground stations get, probably it goes mainly to the army, to those who fight, and everybody, and most volunteers actually work in that direction. But we actually identified the problem with the underground stations. That just to give you an example, every underground station has their own staff. They have a head, cleaning ladies, police working there, something like 40 people per every metro station. So 26 underground stations are about 1,000 staff. These people came to work on February 23rd, and they are still there without leaving for 21 days, and they will stay until whatever is needed. This is like, they are military people. It's in their rules. If something like this happens, they have to stay there without leaving. Some of them are already with entire families, staying underground in the stations, taking care of the stations, taking care of the people, refugees who are in the shelters. So I called one of them and I asked her, "But where do you sleep?" She's like, "Well, actually, I have the room for the director's room, the director's office, and I sleep on the floor." She sleeps on the floor
for 20 something days, and who knows how long. Yeah, on the hard floor.
Yeah. And that's how we gradually started with mosquitoes. Somebody wrote to me, "I need some things to fight with those bugs." I'm like, I called her, "Why?" And she's like, "Because the kids get bit by mosquitoes. The community is high in the underground, and what else? And there's lots of requests like this that are not taken care of by humanitarian aid, because they just bring some diapers, huge amounts, food, whatever, water. So we just take those problems and solve them.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're doing that, that you're taking that initiative. How are people passing the time down there, especially when they have children? They've got little kids. What are they telling their kids? How are they passing the time, keeping their children entertained?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, we actually, to address this problem, we actually bought also some simple A4 paper, like lots of it, and some pencils and paints, just in order for the kids to, to entertain themselves.
Yeah.
And by the way, most there's mostly vulnerable people like kids, elderly people, those people who need special attention, because they typically come to the bomb shelters and they stay there, not just for the time of the alarm, but just for all the time. So they also stay for days there. Yeah, and we try to, to arrange some lunches. And by the way, the volunteer movement is really huge here, and it's a good. I started my career in U.S. Peace Corps, by the way. So a volunteer organization. There's volunteer spirit that. And by the way, Ukraine was and is number 2 post for U.S. Peace Corps in the world.
Wow.
So because and U.S. Peace Corps volunteers helped a lot to actually spread this volunteer spirit around the country, which is not the case with Russia, because Russia closed Peace Corps for the country about 10 years ago. So they shut down Peace Corps in the entire country. So this volunteer spirit is strong. And for example, with the lunches, one of the girls called me and said, "We have 400 lunches. Do you need?" I said, "Yeah, let's deliver them to the undergrounds." I said, "What should I pay?" She said, "Nothing." I said, "Okay, can we help you to deliver them?" She said, "No, we will do the logistics." I'm like, "Okay, how can we help you?" She's like, "No. And this is Ukrainian way. If any one of you have been to Ukraine, you will see that you offer Ukrainians something, and they're like, no. You have to offer 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. And so I offered her, "I want to help you. You are cooking some food. You are delivering. I want to help you." She's like, "Oh, well, if you could buy some rice and potatoes and carrots." I said, "Okay." So several hours later, she receives, all this stuff.
That's funny. Yeah, when I was holding up this and no one could hear what I was saying I founded the Onward movement, which is all about helping people create a life that they love living. And we developed a manifesto. And one of the things in the manifesto is we ask for help and we help others, because asking for help is really challenging sometimes. But then look at all the people who want to help. And then the other thing is that we create space for others. We hear you. We're not alone. We're connected. And I think a lot of people are feeling that with Ukraine. We are definitely connected, and that the Onward movement makes a positive impact in our communities and all over the world. And the other day I was at spinning class and I was just, I think about this all the time. I think, what can I do? How can I help? And I know that there's a lot of people that are thinking that themselves. I live in the United States. What can I do to help out? And we can donate. But then sometimes I get concerned, donating to the Red Cross or other organizations is good. And in fact, let's see, Restream, which is what we're using to broadcast this show, was invented in Ukraine. Restream was invented in Ukraine, and they have a little blog there where they have a list of how you can support, a bunch of places that you can donate to support. So, and then you have your GoFundMe, which earlier today I was checking it. I'm like, oh, it's not working. So why don't you explain what happened there?
Well, I actually have no idea because I have, since I worked for US Peace Corps, I have a bunch of ex Peace Corps volunteers in every state of the United States. And my good friends in California and in San Francisco, they offered to help me. And I said, can you guys just, sort it out, collect the money, because it's easier for me to receive the entire sum than
Yeah.
to deal with little amounts. And so what they did, I don't even know what this GoFundMe is. So they did this, they collect the amounts, and you can see who donates actually. And of course, we are thankful to everyone. But then they send to me, and then I distribute it to whatever needs we have.
Yeah.
But there is some technical issue with it, and it will be sorted out soon.
I think
Uh,
you had to answer some questions because people are concerned about fraud. So maybe the GoFundMe people were, but we're going to work on getting that back up. And
oh
this is
yeah,
the link. And if it changes, I'll share that as well. And then the other thing that you're doing is you're sharing in your
yeah,
Facebook group that people can join. You're sharing how you're using that money. You've got pictures, you've got videos showing how that money's being used. And like you said, when we donate to these big organizations, it takes so long for the funding to get to where it needs, and you're getting it right to where people need it right away.
yeah. Oh, yeah, and well, if you guys want to donate, fine. If we have enough funding at this moment. I think something like $5,000 or $6,000 on the way, which is good for several days for us. But just to give you another example, how we got a call from a blind man. From a man who said he is blind. He doesn't have any help. Can we help us? So one of my guys in the volunteer group called me and said, Alex, what should we do? I said, okay, go buy some food, basic food, potatoes, bread, whatever. Go to his place. And by the way, this guy said that he is going to pay. So the guys asked me whether they need to take money from him or not. I said, go look at it. And if you identify that, the guy is in a good condition and he can pay, let him pay. We just help him with delivery. So the guys went to his place and sent me a video. And I look on my telephone at the video. And immediately after several seconds, I just go like, don't take the money from him.
Oh,
Because this is a poor guy, 73-year-old guy, blind. He's sitting on his bed, really decent costume, with trembling hands, taking out his passport. He's saying, "I'm a cook in the past, but I'm blind, and I cannot get food now because used to be some delivery before the war, but nobody is doing it now." And he called several volunteer organizations, and obviously these organizations are busy with the army, so nobody wanted to deliver food to him. So we bought something like $40 or $50, and it's fine. So we helped this specific person who I know, it's the money went specifically to this guy. So
well, I mean, what you're pointing out is that just by helping one person, you're helping the effort. And so when we're thinking about what we can do, sometimes we look at what's this big thing I could do? I can't donate $1 million. What could I do? And sometimes it's just that little thing. And it's spreading love in your neighborhood, spreading love in your communities, helping out people in your communities is ways that you can help too. So
yeah,
Gary DePrado says, this shows the world order needs to be enabled to prevent the illness we see and you're living through. Shamefully, we might see this now. Best of luck. We are praying for you. And Melody says, I use my writing to share what's going on to help. Thank you. Hoping to help. Thank you, Melody.
thank you.
And then, we know this, that Russia's not letting their people know the truth about what's going on. Ukrainians have big hearts. I mean, the things that you all are doing, recognizing that for the most part, it's not the Russian troops. They don't know. I mean, they don't know what's going on. I guess when they get there, they do. But, you have some, it seems to me like you guys have some compassion for what they're going through as well. letting them call home to their moms and things like that. At least that's what we see on the news.
If I react on that,
Yeah.
we are everybody, and I believe there's many people in the audience who know Ukrainians or who have been to Ukraine. Everybody who know Ukrainians or have been to Ukraine can confirm that Ukrainians are a very peaceful and hospitable nation, really peaceful and hospitable. And the history of this is simple: is that we are black soils. We are number one black soils in the entire world, very rich soils. So what a typical Ukrainian needs is just a piece of land where they would seed, some plants and be happy. And we are really welcoming anyone who comes to our land. We treat to borscht, to all Ukrainian dishes, sing Ukrainian songs. But if anybody comes to us with evil thoughts, we would fight to end, because this is our land. It feeds us, it gives us food, it gives us opportunity to welcome our friends. Anybody who comes with evil thoughts is our enemy. So this is firm, and this is the entire nation is now, united in this defense to an aggressor. And even though the Russians always say, "Oh, we are brother nation," now everybody in Ukraine can say that it is not the fact. Most of my Russian relatives and my Russian friends have not even written a line to me.
Oh, wow.
Nothing at all. On the other hand, the West, like Switzerland, France, Germany, Britain, Great Britain, Italy, Spain, US, Canada, Mexico, the West wrote to me so many good things, so many warm words, support. It is so. This is our friends. The West for Ukraine is the friends. We are part of that world. Russia is not our friend and will never be for the next decades, until at some point, like the Nazis, they come through several generations and pay for that, for what they did to us, and still doing. So we are yeah, of course we treat those who we capture, whatever they call, we treat them in a standards, in the military standards. But I can tell you that we are in the state of hatred. Although I understand, I'm a very peaceful person. I would never think of myself saying this publicly, that I hate somebody. I hate this. This is not even a country. This is an empire of lies, of deception, that was built specifically by a group of terrorists that captured their own people and got the money and the power artificially, and now they want to grasp more lands. So these are beasts for us.
Yeah.
And everybody who is in Russia, they are just blind, deaf, and dumb individuals who cannot say anything, who do not want to take responsibility. The responsibility is taken by somebody else, and they have to open their eyes, and it will only happen after this beast dies.
Yeah. You said you have relatives in Russia?
Yeah.
And have you talked to them, or?
From day one, I started writing to them. My first message was just like what I said: we are a peaceful nation, but if enemy comes, we will fight. And then every day I sent to them some pieces of what I see, not the news, but what I see. This is the airplanes. This is the bombing that happens. This is the sufferings that are done by this Russian, what they call Ruski Mir, Russian world. and there was no response from them, and at some point they just left. They just quit the chat. They just quit it. Well, I think I saw somebody message that this is, well, they are now in this isolation, in this bubble, and they just don't know the truth. Stay in the bubble of lies.
Yeah.
But I'm not sorry for them.
No, they don't. So they don't know the truth. But when you try to send them the truth, what, do they not believe it, or they just feel like maybe they can't respond to it? Or, I mean, who knows do you have an idea of what might be going on in their heads of your relatives?
Yeah, the feedback that my other relatives gave me, who is still in the connection, she said, they think that whatever I wrote to them is lies. So they didn't believe me, although I told them, this is what I see, this is what happens around me. They didn't believe me. That's how they, brainwashed.
Here we go. That's what Bill said. Their people are brainwashed. Yeah. And then
Yeah, right.
Gina says, some people in Russia are protesting more and more every day is my hope.
Yeah, exactly. This is what the sanctions will do. The sanctions will increase the anxiety, the social anxiety, to the point when the people start actually doing something.
Wow. So what's you're going to continue with this GoFundMe campaign. I want to put this up here. So we believe the link's going to start working soon after some questions are answered for GoFundMe. They're just trying to make sure there's no fraud and that it's used the right way. And then you also post videos of what you're doing in this Facebook group if people want to join the group. And you also share them on your Twitter every day. It seems like you've been going live with a video, just walking around the towns. It's in the town where you're living, at least from the post you made today or late last night or whatever you said. I mean, it just looks like people are going about living their normal lives. That's what it looks like in the video. That's what you were. So what is it like where you are?
Oh. Well, it really doesn't feel like a war here. It's probably like you guys also live in a peaceful land. Everything is okay. Just imagine, the only thing is the only things that are not normal is that you have the air defense alarm on your phone. Here I have an air defense alarm. You're supposed to go to a bomb shelter. And then probably the supermarkets are half empty. Alcohol is prohibited to purchase, so which is good. In the wartime, there's no need for that. There's no flour, there's no sugar, there's no salt. Oh, it's hard to find, in fact. So basic stuff is absent because probably people just bought a lot too much. Well, other than that, in Cherkasy, it doesn't feel like that. But again, I came from a war zone, and we walked in the downtown today with my wife, and then there was some sounds close to us, like, and we both turned like this, and nobody else did it, and we're like, okay, this is a syndrome of a person who's been in the war, and it's like, what is going on then, yeah. But so the people do not feel it, and it's hard to feel. And I understand them. I understand you guys. You just watch the news. It's far away from you. But another thought that I have now, I want to share with you, that a couple of days ago, a news hit me once I also realized the war on a totally different level. Because, okay, I've seen my home left behind. I've seen those jets. I've seen the anti-air defense working. I've seen flights over us. I've seen an oil base burning like 10 miles away from us. I saw the smoke. I saw those checkpoints in Kyiv. I saw the warriors and lots of this. So I felt the war. But 2 days ago, I heard the story about my neighbor, a guy who I knew, who lived close to me, and we had arguments with him. We cooperated with him, and then we broke up, and we didn't even speak for the past half a year. And then I heard the story of him trying to evacuate his family from that war zone. So he had a car. He put his family in the car, himself, his son, and the wife, and they were driving, and they were shot by the Russians. The guy died on the spot, right there. The son was shot 3 times, but he was lying down in the car, so he was alive, and the wife was shot in the belly. And those Russians took them out of the car. By the way, they put them into another car. The car took them to a hospital, to a Ukrainian hospital, so they got cured, but the guy died. So when I heard it, it was like a total different level. So the death is actually next to me. This is the guy I knew. He's dead. He is dead. And you know that already thousands of people are dead in Ukraine. Around 100 kids are dead in Ukraine. And nobody knows how many more will die until the end. This war ends. The worst thing that we cannot protect ourselves from the sky. You guys know that these beasts, they do bombing of air attacks on residential areas, on the hospitals, on schools. Not just military objects as they promised, just everything they want to bomb. They bombed 3 buildings in Kyiv today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many people died just today. And it will continue happening.
Ina asks, what about near the shelters where you deliver? How safe is it there?
Near the shelters or in the shelters. Yeah.
Near and in. I mean, how safe do you think you're going there?
It's like a regular underground. It's really deep in the ground. So it's one of the best it's the best bomb shelters in the entire city. So it's really safe there.
Yeah, but but you have to get in there, and you're in Kyiv. I mean, so do you feel, how is it to get all the supplies down there? Once you get down there, maybe you're safe, but when you're collecting the supplies and everything, how is that?
Well, in Kyiv, it's, when I first, for the first week, I actually did it myself. I went in the supermarkets and did, more or less safe. Well, probably because I'm just a brave man. Because I was actually driving past a tank, Ukrainian tank, but it's a bridge, yeah, and I was driving on the bridge, and here's the tank. And you guys know when you are driving past a huge truck?
Truck, yeah.
But it's not just like this. It's like 10 times more. It's like the car starts trembling like this together with the bridge. So it's like, it's a thing. But I heard the bombing. I saw the smoke. As I said, I saw our police getting those diversante. I don't know the word for the English word. So we have special military troops in Kyiv who were sent by Russians to do terror attacks, and police catches them. And I saw one of them just in front of me.
Oh, wow.
But other than that, Kyiv is as firm as a castle, and the Russians have not even come close to Kyiv yet. It's like 10 kilometers away, and we are defending ourselves. But if they come, they will be hit at every single meter.
Yeah, you guys are getting ready for sure. So, see, Melody says she posted a video of a Russian soldier who thought he was coming to save people. He had no idea what was truly going on. And I guess you can sympathize with that, but then it's like, once they figure out what's going on, if they keep going and doing what they're doing, that's an issue. right? I mean,
Yeah. Well, the entire nation, the entire Russian nation has been fooled around. So they are fooled. They are fooled with everything. Some of them didn't even know that they came to Ukraine. I
yeah.
Here is the story. On the first day, one of the Russian soldiers who was landed from a helicopter in the place Hostomel, the military airport, he went to a supermarket. He went to a supermarket to buy cigarettes.
Uh-oh.
And this is a story that my the neighbors in Gostomel told me. So he went there. He took them, and he went to a cashier, and he produced Russian rubles. Although in Ukraine the currency is Ukrainian hryvnia, for those who don't know. So we have Ukrainian hryvnia, and he produced Russian rubles. The guy had no idea he's in a different country. He
Oh,
thought he was in Russia. Of course, he got caught by the security and sent to police, and then So a young guy, 20 years old or something, he had no idea he was sent to Ukraine. They have been fooled around. Not everyone, of course. There are special troops who specifically know that they go to Kyiv to get Zelensky and the highest authorities of Ukrainian. The president's office, the speaker of the parliament, everybody, and the highest authorities, and kill them, or make them sign whatever documents they want. Of course, there's a bunch of those special troops and Chechens also, but a lot of people don't even know. They are fooled around.
wow. Wow. Let's see. We've got another comment here from Amy. She says, and this is, I think, when you were talking about like how people hear the sounds, but just keep going on with their lives. People become blind to accepting those things that would disrupt their everyday routine, especially if it's much easier to pretend everything is fine. It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think of a line that I heard yesterday. Somebody said that if Google and Apple made every telephone in the world do these bombing alarms, just to imagine you are sitting in your home in California, Texas, wherever, and then you hear this. Just hear this. Then the war will end sooner.
That is a really
So that everybody, when you feel what it is like, you got to go to a bomb shelter.
That's a really good point. So says these stories are so important, even as they break our hearts. Yes, they are. And so before we came on, I was talking to you about, before we came live, I was talking to you about that video of you with singing happy birthday to your 1-month-old son on March 10th. And it looked to me like, I mean, you were smiling and you and your wife were experiencing joy over your son. And we talked a little bit about like, how can you love your life or be content in your life or live your life with all of this going on around you? And you said you had been reflecting on that recently, and I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Well, I was a participant of 2004 revolution and 2014 revolution. And for me, this is the third revolution. So what we started in 2004 continues until now. So it's 18 years. I remember those times, and I remember this time. This is just like such a raise of spirit of the entire nation, of lots of people, such an atmosphere. And again, I've experienced it already 2 times. And I want to invest everything I have now, all my time, all my efforts. I took sabbatical from my work. I cannot work. I don't need money. I just want to invest everything in order to win this game, because this is not just a game for myself, because I want to get my home back. It's very pragmatical, egoistic. I want to get my home back. And the only way for that is to get rid of this beast, get rid of the beast on this planet. Yeah. But I also want good for my country. I want my country to be united as it was before 2014. I want Europe to rethink its values because there's been some problems with that, and lots of international organizations also have to change. UN needs to change. The Security Council of UN needs to change. They are not working. They have to change. We are changing ourselves. We are changing Europe, and we are changing this country that attacked us. This country will be changed dramatically, and also the entire world will change, because this is what is happening in Ukraine is in the epicenter of the entire world. I'm sure that after this, the world has to really think of what to do with the nuclear weapon.
Yes. Yeah.
Finally,
Yeah.
to do something with it.
So what you're talking about is you're looking at all this terrible stuff that's going on, and you're finding a gift or an opportunity in it.
Yeah.
There's a gift and an opportunity that is like, wake up. We need to make some changes. We can't continue operating this way. Not just Ukraine, but NATO and all of the Western countries, everybody that's we just can't keep going on this way. There's some things we need to do. We need to wake up, and that's a gift that's coming out of this. It's a very expensive gift. It's terrible that it had to happen this way, but like you said, you're accepting what's happening. It's happening. You can't change that. So how can we move forward? How can we find a gift or an opportunity? How can you help? That's what you're focused on. Not, woe is me, I'm just going to sit in my apartment and I quit my job and I can't do anything. You're like, where can I go to help? How can I help? And you've found ways, and you're gathering people to create those ways. And
yeah, absolutely.
So Dale, yes, people are afraid if they believe the truth, and their fear being targeted, and for sure. And peaceful protesters are being jailed. Yes, that definitely is happening. Let's see if I see any other comments here.
That's the fear. Sorry. This is the fear. If you guys watched Navalny's speech at the court, that's what he said. You guys, everybody, you fear. There is a fear everywhere. Navalny is the one who doesn't fear, and we don't fear now. What should we fear about? What, death? If they attack, well, if they did what they planned to do, if they achieved what they planned to do, this is the death of the entire nation, of the entire country. I do not want to live in a country like that, like they wanted to build here. I do not want. This is a death. I want to stop it. I'm a little citizen of this country, but there's lots of us, millions of us. It's not like 100,000, it's millions of us. So, and we will do that. Of course, this is a big sacrifice. Lots of people will die, unfortunately.
Well, one of my coaches says you can climb Mount Everest with baby steps, and you can, handle this with everybody doing their little part, right? Like what you're doing and what others are doing. And if people donate and, whatever people can do, spread the story, like Melody's been posting the story, share this video. And when you share it, tell people, start at whatever it is, 3 minutes when you can actually hear Emily, because my couldn't hear me, but so just spread the word and help people. What you're doing, posting on Twitter, just spreading the word is creating awareness. I definitely agree with you about if we all heard our phones going off every time, that would be helpful too. So Amy says, having a playful spirit that seeks out experience and finds agency in the midst of chaos is important. Helping people deal with their frustrations and bitterness over the hyper shift we've all experienced. This is where work lies. Do the work. Yeah. So you're, I wouldn't, with everything that's going on, you're doing what you can to love being alive and to contribute. That's what you're doing. And
Yeah.
I admire that in you, Alex. And
Yeah. And in fact, I feel more alive than ever.
wow. Wow. Well, let me just, as we wrap this up, if anyone has a last minute question that they want to post it in the chat and I'll try to catch it. And please take a screenshot. I'm going to put this graphic up here if you want. Take a screenshot, share the show, and make a post about what you learned. Help people learn more about what we just talked about. Follow Alex on Twitter. Okay, he's posting videos there often. Like I said, Restream was invented in Ukraine, and they have a link where you can go and find places that you can donate. You can contribute to Alex's GoFundMe account once we get it back up and running, and I'll be making posts about that. But this link should continue to work. Just GoFundMe's looking into it a little bit. They just want to make sure it's all good. Then you can join Alex's Facebook group. What does that say, actually?
Help Kyiv survive. Help Kyiv survive.
Help Kyiv survive. Okay, I see that. Okay, yeah, help Kyiv survive. I see that now. All right. And so you can join that Facebook group and learn all the things that they're doing that he and his volunteers are doing to help. So let me check the chat. Oh, I don't think we have any more questions. So Alex, I'm just, you and I were talking about my brother because I met you kind of through my brother. My mom sent a video, and the video was you talking to Anderson Cooper, right? And I'm like, oh, I got to interview that guy. And, my brother said that, he was a colleague of yours. And then we talked about we consider you guys friends, right? You and my brother. Yeah.
John is one of those people who I would love to stay in touch and be friends with. He's very, very nice person, and I can feel that if he was not American, he would be a Ukrainian.
Or maybe Hungarian. I don't know. His wife's Hungary, but I do think that at some point they probably want to move back over there. But did you work for Move One, Kurt Clements' company?
I was country manager for Ukraine.
Okay, for Move One.
Yes.
So, an interesting story. I don't know if you know this, but my brother and I grew up in Northern Virginia in Annandale, and Kurt and my brother are the same age, and Kurt lived next door to us. I don't know if you knew that. So that's how I know Kurt, and that's how Kurt and my brother met, and then my brother moved to Budapest and started working with Kurt, and I'm sure that's how he met you. He's traveled all over, and Kurt said he couldn't be here today, but I saw he donated to your GoFundMe, and he's been traveling around Romania, Poland, figuring out how he can help as well. So you got a lot of people helping you, a lot of people supporting you, and I wish you the very best. I'm going to keep following you. And if you ever want to go live again with me to share a story or to talk about something, I'm here for you. We can make it happen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Emily. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you guys who listen to us, and please DM me if this link doesn't work. I can give you other ways of than the donations, but or just with any questions. But the more we talk, the more we share it. Again, the faster this help will stop, and less deaths, more lives will be saved. Please share it with anyone who you know. Just the feeling. The news is it's everybody watches the news, but this is the feeling, the stories, because we are here. We feel it. We kind of in this epicenter. I can try to share it with you because when I heard about Syria, it was just far away. I knew the tanks. I heard about Aleppo, but it was just an abstract thing. Now for me, it's a specific thing, and this is what I want to share. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. I'm just going to end it here. I'm not going to play my ending video. So I'm going to end it here, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, please share the link, share the stream. And sorry about my microphone issue earlier. I'm not sure what happened, but we figured it out. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm going to end the stream, and then Alex, you'll still be there so we can chat for a minute. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your support. And I'm going live tomorrow night, 7:30. That's when I normally go live, 7:30 on Wednesdays, Eastern time, with my Onward podcast interview.